on. Get the schedule and get the match as soon as it starts. For the match, we will be covering AFK versus CHN here. Which is in B3. All right, people are joining. Hope you're all doing great. Let's go. Oh, you have two more matches. You have this match and the next match to check as well, so it's a good thing. We will be checking. What's gonna happen in the first minute? Well, that's nothing I can do about that, you know? What do you mean alone? You have no alliance at the moment? Give that man an alliance. SOS is always better when you are playing with friends, even if you're making new friends, so... 10 seconds for it to start. We have a 23 against 20 match. Oh, Val. With Tor? I like Tor. Tor is a great strategist. I've talked with him a bunch of times. He's a good player. I covered almost every single final that I were in, even from the first one back when they were the underdogs. Alright, seems like we do have CHN here holding the solar power station. It seems like we are going to see the first occupation going to be in the solar. After that, we will be getting here treatment 1 and then treatment 2, unless any of those buildings flip at the moment. AKF is the one that is holding here for treatment 1, and CHN is holding both treatment 2 and Solar. Seems like with a few rallies bounced, but there was no double rally so far. Let's see if they're going to be trying double rallies in the next run. All right. Seems like both have gotten their full occupations. We have the first occupation points for every single one of them at the moment. Seems like they're following the meta, which is interesting to see a B match doing that. They are not going for any of the external buildings. They're likely saving them later on for the first occupation points and actually fighting for them by not overextending themselves with smaller buildings. Give me a second. Seems like I had a small technical issue. Sorted out now. All right. We have 7 more minutes. Until then, we are going to see some of the rallies in here. They're being just single rallies, so I have no idea how that's going to perform. One minute and 30 seconds for the flipping that happened here by AKF and to be completed, and it seems like 6 minutes for it to go to the center. Seems like it's going to be a back and forth here by CHN and AKF. Which this is perfect actually for AKF because they got 1,200 points in their side. And although that CHN holds solar power station, this is not going to be something that's going to be helping them as much if they cannot keep the building. Even if they get to squeeze a few points, the way that this is might be problematic. All right. Four minutes. Minutes and 30 seconds for the center to open. We see here that one of the rallies bounced. Two rallies, a double rally bounced. And now that a double rally bounced, plus actually a few other singles have bounced, CHN is going to be holding it for a while. Seems like JB is doing a rally here to try to take solar. It is walking at the moment. Let's see if it's gonna pop up Digi. Doesn't seem to be the case. Seems like Digi is securing solar, and they have very little time here to get back solar before center opens. And first occupation of the centers might turn this match around. So far, the match is very close. It can go in any direction. AKF has a big problem of participation where 3 of their members have not joined yet. That's probably going to bite them very much when we start getting some of the water tanks. AKF was able to push back here on treatment too. A nice push, especially as center is opening up soon. They are rallying back, but that rally means that the people that are joining it either will have to choose between that rally and the rally in the center or speeding in the center. AKF also kicked them off of solar just before center opening up. And now with 6 seconds for it to go. Center opened up. Valnet is here holding center. Pokemon tried to speed in, was not done in time. And now AKF is going to be holding the center. And now the next stage is going to be most likely the water tanks. Zero a zero fácil holdings in solar here. And it seems like CHN is going to be holding most of the auxiliary buildings, although that the center first occupation went to AKF. In 6 minutes, we're going to be seeing if holding munitions is going to pay off. We do have some marches going through both of the treatment centers. Alright, people, can we get some likes in chat? If we do get a bunch of likes, I can give you a code. We have 20 people watching and 0 likes. So if we can get up to 20 likes, because more people are coming and going, I'll show you down a code. And it seems like we are getting to Dev Compound here. Dev Compound is being attacked by JB, but Logic is holding true for the moment. Seems like the situation is mostly stable, although AKF is trying to take things here. AKF is a little bit further ahead, and it has 3,000 points in per minute compared to 1,920, so 1,000 points per minute. Probably gonna get 4,000 more points by the time that the water tanks come through. Seems like CHN is trying to aim for some of the full controls outside. We're gonna be see if that is gonna pay off. And we had a flip and treatment too. AKF pulling through with some of the water. All right. Logic here is holding Dev Compound. Zero Zero Fácil is holding Solar. DG here. I doubt you were free to play, but okay. JB just popped up Solar. Some water puddles, but not a lot, as Solar doesn't have too much water usually, and has not been that long after they got it. AKF just got it back though. It seems like AKF is also trying to get back treatment shoe, but it really bounced. Chobel Center will not be the main focus anymore. It's probably going to be holding the buildings that they have and getting as many water tanks as possible. All right. Digi is now also holding Solar. Did he move pulled off? Yeah, Digi pulled off processing one. Share is now holding it. They are holding for points, not only for first occupation. Personally, I don't think that this is a good investment of their troops. They could easily pull out of this and try to get full control in any of the other buildings as well, to not overextend themselves and push for some extra points. Forks here is holding Dev Compound this time with the Egyptian god picture Pokemon with nations. Galneris holding treatment 1 and center. Seems like Galneris is the main rally lead for AKF. We do have the water tanks now. Let's open up the map to check in view how the water tanks are going to go back and forth. Hilton Niflin moving closer now. They have more tanks. No, they have exactly the same amount of tanks now they counted. But they are with more buildings than before. So by holding all the auxiliary buildings, they're probably getting a better score than usually would have. Seems like they are in a very tight situation because they have 45 points against 60. Hello, Monkey D. Luffy. You gonna become the Pirate King? And it seems like now they're getting ahead by 300 points, but it's going a lot of back and forths. Solar here by AKF just got flipped. I think that CH and Niflings do not want to fight Gauneris, so they're focusing in the other buildings where Gauneris is not in. The next set is in 6 minutes. It might be enough time for Nephilim to pick up. They are 1,000 points ahead in terms of points per minute. A little bit more now. We do have a lot of water on top of the buildings. And the majority of the water on top is from AKF. If Nifling is able to get half of the water back, that's gonna be a win for them. If they keep up this pace and do that, because it's 14,000 points. And we have in total 20,000 points here just from that. So they can get 10,000 points and reduce AKF points by 10,000. So that would put them ahead of them. Do have AKF kicking off people from munitions here. AKF is being very efficient with puddles. I wonder if they're going to be able to kick up with that later on. Seems like still no activity for the external buildings. Still 9,000 points in play for these. AKF moved further in terms of points per minute, which is gonna be a very important play if they can keep it up, because Nephilim was getting very close to them to the point where it was dangerous to have them around, especially if they were able to pop the buildings. AKF is going to have full control healer munitions. Which is going to give them 240 extra points. We have a bunch of players with singles here. But will singles be enough to kick people from munitions? Do have a reinforcement speeding in. Are they going to be able to kill Le Patriote from it? And that doesn't seem like it. they were able to reinforce the building, and now it's going to be struggle to kick them out. Probably they will need a rally. The difference now moved from 14,000 to 20,000, which is great, but still is a problem due to the amount of water on top of it. 25,000 of water. What do you mean with no live chat? Luffy, I am checking the chat at the moment. If you mean people are not talking about it, yeah, that's for sure. That sometimes happens. Hmm. 1 minute for the next set of water tanks. In my opinion, these are the most decisive ones. The last ones can be very important as well, but most of the matches are already decided by the time that they are coming through. So these ones are the ones that usually push the balance in either direction. This match is still close enough for it to go either way, although AKF definitely has an advantage. You can send it right now. That being said, if you sent before, you don't get an extra sticker. I double check everyone to see if they were added once, because you'll only get once, regardless of how many times you are added there, to make sure that everyone has some space. But as the match is a little bit slow and we're gonna be mostly checking the water tanks right now, I can check it for you. So let's do it right now. I can check if you were added previously or if this is your first time. Looks like Dev Compound was popped off. Not a lot of water, but still. CHN is doing a good job of that at the moment. Hey dude, you were added before. I actually was the one that added you, which is quite interesting as well. Oh, but I don't have the stickers. The stickers are only going to be coming to you all at the same time at the 31. But I understand that as not everyone tells you if you won or not. Not everyone knows if that is the case. We do have a 29 versus 29 match now. AKF is pulling through in points by holding more tanks plus enough buildings. It is still close in terms of points though. Galneris is now holding 3 buildings instead of 2. There's still 9,000, 10,200 points in play for the first controls, plus all the water on top. So even if they're pulling through and it's 30,000 points right now, the match is still within grasp of Nephilim. Sad to hear, Tommy. Doomsday matchup tends to be rough, especially because a lot of people have as well a lot of registries that are not coming to fight. I did that myself once to make sure that I was going to be selected. I added a few players that we knew wouldn't be able to come through. So even if we had 30 players, we wouldn't have the exact power that we registered into, and we would be struggling a lot in those matches as well. And there were some unfair matches, but the reality is this is a tournament. In a tournament, there are no such things in a sense of bad matchup. Or in a sense, not necessarily a bad matchup. Bad matchup there is, but there's no such thing as a bad algorithm to set you up, because you were eventually going to face everyone else. It's just a matter of when you're going to be kicked off. If you cannot survive the majority of the matches, especially in lower groups, there's no chance of you surviving anyway in the higher ones. I do think, however, that maybe they should split more into more sections, but I think that would be a bad case. I've seen a lot of inactive matchups in fights in newer states. Yeah, and that's what people don't get. It's the developers are stuck between a hawk and a hard place in this, because if they split too many people to try to get things to be a little bit more fair, a lot of the matches are going to be empty, or people are not going to be having a lot of fun because not many players are joining. So it's not going to be fun, and the matchup is going to be unfair in those cases as well. And we checked in the mornings, and that seems to be the case. And if they join a lot of people together, people are going to be able to have a lot of matches that are going to have people, but some of the matchups are going to be having a vastly overwhelming difference in power. So there's no good choice in those cases. So they're doing the best that they can to try to at least give you fun matches for the time being that you are within the event. And in some cases, those will be bad matches. That's completely understandable as well. Sometimes we feel like we're being targeted, or that it's just bad matchups with us, but in a lot of cases, it can be that's the best matchup available for the time that we choose as well. Because from my experience, players want everything. They want a fair matchup, they want at the time that they can make it, and they want to make sure that everyone is in there. And the problem with that is that the amount of variables that you have to do that, it reduces massively the amount of matchups that you can do. Remember some patches ago where they were reducing the amount of choices that you have for time zones, and people were complaining because they couldn't participate, and that actually had a pretty positive impact from the matchup system. But people were not happy about that because they wanted to play in the time that they wanted to play, and then they complained back again that when it was moved back to the matchups were not fair. So yeah, people are not gonna be happy regardless. Now we're getting to this final set of water tanks. That set of water tanks is going to be very interesting because it's only 25,000. The gap is being closer and closer. This is going to be decided if this keeps up with who is better at getting puddles. Yeah, and this game is a global game, so that's why I think it can be an issue, you know? You have too many variables that are in there. Yeah, and that's commendable. I think that if you want to play more seriously and you have to be with Alliance that plays seriously, that's great. But not everyone is going to be playing like that, Tommy. And people like you are probably, let's say, in terms of commitment, top 5 to top 1% of being in cases like that. So players that will have to be able to have a matchup to your level of commitment, regardless of power, are already going to be massively reduced. Because you have to consider that there are 10,000 players per server. So let's take in consideration just server-wise. So as I said, would be, let's say, 5%. So in those cases would be only 500 players per server from the start, not just from the time that it is at the end of the life cycle where they're getting merges, that would be able to have that level of commitment. It gets better with merges, but still, seems like AKF did a pretty good job with that. Those water puddles, they pushed through with a lot of that power. CHN had a good shot, but they're a little bit farther now because of them not getting the water puddles. AKF is now moving forward for the first controls. They're trying to get the first controls to get extra points to pull through. This is why probably for CHN, when they had enough members to not be that spread thin, it would have been a good idea to focus on them. They are trying to catch up with the water tanks, and this is going to become very hectic very soon. I do think that AKF is most likely going to take the majority of the first controls here, and there's still a chance, even if that happens, that they lose with them not being able to hold the buildings and losing the water. But the way that the match is moving in the last part of the match is probably going to be a win for AKF. "14 more minutes before the matchup is over." Seems like the score is again getting close to 40,000 points. It's going back and forth with the water tanks. So for now, it's anyone's guess. All right, we can have a code. Do you guys want a code? I want to see some people in chat saying that they want a code and doing some likes if they want codes. Point-wise, I'd say that, let's say that each of them get half of the points, okay? Assuming that. So there are 40,000 at the moment, minus 14,000, so 26,000, 13,000 for each side. So let's assume that all the buildings were popped and it's half and half. This would be roughly 199 versus 185. So it's still 14,000 points of difference. That's why I say it's hard, because they'd have to gather every single water puddle, or like 90% of them, both theirs and their opponents. And this is going to be very unlikely, especially as we're going to be getting some of the occupation points now. If they can hold these buildings, things improve a lot for them. If they can actually hold these buildings, they might have a good chance. Let's give you guys a code. Double check if this is the right code. We're good to go. What are your guesses? People are saying red side will win, blue side will win. What are your guesses here? Red side might get occupation in one of them. There's 50,000, 45,000 points of difference right now. Here's your code. Enjoy. Problem is that people are hopping between streams all the time to try to get the codes from every single stream. Charles. So if they don't see a code on the screen, they just stay in a chat and they go for a while for the next stream and so on and so forth. All right. 50,000 points. AKF is doing a great job of getting the puddles here. We still have center and treatment one that has a lot of water on it. Still 45,000. Game's still in play for Nephilim, which is the red team, but it's gonna get harder and harder for them to do it. If they can pop here one of the buildings and get the majority of the water, it's gonna be a massive boost for their morale as well. We'll see what will happen. Looks like we're most likely seeing people pop here, as they're doing a double rally in Golnaris. We have the majority of players around here. Let's see how the water puddles are going to behave. And while they're rallying here, they seem to be having more players around to be able to also keep gathering. AKF is trying to pop in the top building though, while that happens. But DG is holding steadily. Seems like the double rally bounced. Looks like their double rally is not strong enough to kick Golnaris, and this is most likely sealing their fate. Womp womp. This is the moment that they feel like this. Where's my alert? Some reason it's bugged. Maybe it doesn't show in this one. Oh, it's fine. Alright, so the water, it was pumped here. I appreciate having all of you here. I will be streaming in my own channel. You can check below to follow it. And I will be having a bunch of codes for my match later on as well. Make sure to be checking the last match in all the streamers that you can. The way that I have that, in case you were not told before that this is happening, is that the reason why the people are so split. If you check in the description down there, you can see every single match that is going to happen. The next match that is happening here in the SOS official channel is from Stealth, but all streamers are in some cases either in Twitch or in their own channel covering. Make sure to follow the SOS official channel that is in there. It's twitch.tv/State of Survival. And also follow all the streamers that are official creators that are doing matches, so you can get more codes. The best way to get extra codes is to try to watch as many matches as you can from the streamers that are in there. So try to click on the description down below and you are going to be able to do so. I'll make the code clear again for those that didn't use it yet. I'll move it out. There you go. Oh, I'm not any of them. I'm using the feature of you to watch all the matches, Tommy. If you're asking who of me is the streamers, I'm LezardFleck. So this is, I'll help you guys. This is the official channel, official Twitch channel. That's me in the chat. If you want to track me and watch my last match, I'll have a bunch of codes for all of you. This is me. Go and check me out. I usually don't do a direct shout out, but as you ask, I believe there is no problem. I ask only that you follow all the streamers if you can in here, because all the streamers, especially if they stream frequently, would love to have some extra support. Let's see if center is going to pop off before the end of the match. Galneres is holding. True and true. No problem. Thank you for showing up, Tommy. Looks like Galneres is going to be holding the center until the end of the match. Every single member right now is sending a rally. Quite a few of those rallies, though, will not reach her on time because of the marching time. Unless it's a 30-second rally, it's not going to be possible. Because the marching time, especially with one tile behind, it's going to be roughly 20 seconds. And AKF here sending reinforcements to the end of Earth. They're doing a pretty good job of those reinforcements. This, their fate is sealed. There's no more rallies to kick her off. Appreciate having all of you here. See you all on my channel. If you want to check me out later, link is already in there. Bye-bye. Appreciate all having you all here.